Doing the right thing is never easy. In 2021, I went on my honeymoon with my wife, and I did cocaine on the honeymoon. And before I tell you that story, I want to take you 10 years back to when I overcame my addiction. I struggled with a substance addiction for a period of 6 months straight. I would do drugs for 72 hours, as much as I possibly could. And when my body would finally give out, I would sleep for 24 hours and I'd wake up and I'd do that all again. And I did this for 6 months. And in order for me to get clean from, my addiction, I had to basically separate myself from my environment and cut myself off from any possible scenario that drugs would be in, period. That included, drinks out with my friends, that included going to restaurants, that included nightclubs where I used to work. I just cut myself off from any environment that would encourage that type of behavior. I just didn't put myself in the room. And so this strategy worked for a very long time. And, I slipped a couple of times because I'm human in the next few years. And I got to a point though where I knew that I could not go out and have drinks because I knew that if I went out and I had drinks that I would do drugs. And so I just stopped going out. And I just focused on my fitness, I focused on my goals, I focused on the person that I wanted to become, and that was it. So fast forward, I meet Kirsten, who's now my wife, and we fell in love, and we did the whole dating thing, and I moved in with her, we were working out all the time, but we still wanted to have fun. And so we'd go out and we'd have a couple of drinks, and on our 5th, 6th date, I ended up telling her, I gotta be careful with how much I go out, because when I go out and I have drinks, I wanna do drugs. And at this point, I felt like I had my demon beat, I felt like I had it, made, I felt like I had it mastered. And, because I was so in love with Kirsten, I realized that if I ever did drugs, that it would endanger our relationship, and so I just avoided it. I just never did it. And during my honeymoon, we decided that we were going to take 2 weeks off of work, and we were just going to party, drink, celebrate, etc. And so we were out one night at this local shisha bar, and we were smoking shisha. I was wasted, and I remember walking up to the bartender, and I was literally incoherent, and I knew that he had drugs. I could just sense it. I was like, yo, can I buy some coke off you? He was like, yeah, for sure. So he ended up selling me some coke. I ended up doing the coke, and that night, sure, it felt great. And then the next day, instantly, I was like, what have I done? And I didn't really know how to handle that situation. I didn't really know what to do. And so I made the decision that I was gonna bury it. I was gonna bury it. I was gonna bury it so deep that it would never, ever, ever, ever come out. And so I never told Kirsten. And I came back to Canada with Kirsten, and I just had this deep, deep secret that I wouldn't share with her. And it forced me to kind of close off. I basically closed off from Kirsten. And I became more distant, and I didn't really know why, but she could sense it. And I just committed. I was like, I'm just gonna be a better person, right? I'm just gonna be a better person. I'm just gonna commit to my fitness goals, commit to my mindset, commit to everything, and I'm just gonna be better. And I'm gonna forget the negative things that I did. I'm just gonna forget, and I'm gonna be better. This created distance. And it created a separation, because this is my wife, the person that I'm supposed to share everything with, and I've got the secret from her. So every night before I go to sleep, my conscience would scream at me. And it would be saying you need to tell her, you need to tell her the truth, you need to tell her what you did, you need to own up to it. And I think that I was afraid that if I told her, she was gonna leave, and so that's why I buried it. But eventually my conscience became too loud for me to not say anything. And so one night I was laying in bed, and I looked over at her, and I was like, I need to tell you something. I did drugs and Turks and Caicos. And of course she was heartbroken, and she wasn't heartbroken because I did drugs, she was heartbroken because I kept it a secret. And this was 6 months later. And that experience really taught me that having integrity and being accountable and being honest, these are all words that people like to throw around, but to actually embody them requires pain. It requires you to be honest and be open and have conversations that might be extremely uncomfortable. And I think that these character traits are so essential for success, because if you truly want to be a person that achieves something remarkable and makes an impact on the world, then you need to embody integrity, self-responsibility, and honesty. And for me, I wasn't doing that. And because I wasn't doing that, I felt like an imposter. And because I felt like an imposter every single day that I was showing up, I wasn't showing up as my very best. I wasn't giving my very best to my wife. I wasn't giving my very best to my clients. And I wasn't giving my very best to myself. And so honesty and integrity is one of those things that it is so fucking hard to actually do, because it means that you need to do what you say you're gonna do even when you don't want to. And honesty means saying the thing that's the actual truth even when it means that you could potentially lose somebody. And for me, I was lucky enough to have a wife that understood the situation and basically was able to work through it with me. But this message is for you if you have something that you need to say to somebody. You have something that you've been keeping from somebody. You have something that you have buried deep inside of your soul in hopes that nobody will see, in hopes that nobody will find out. But what I want you to understand is that you can't hide from yourself, and you always know. And no matter what you try to do to hide it from other people, you will always feel this deep sense of shame and regret and guilt. And this sense of shame, regret, and guilt will drive your day-to-day actions and cause you to do things that are irrational that you might not even fully understand. So open up, be vulnerable, share your heart. And being a man of integrity is owning up to your mistakes and holding yourself accountable for the things that you've done. And yeah, I'm not proud of the fact that I slipped up and I did drugs and Turks and Caicos, but I'm proud that I told my wife. I'm proud that I was honest. I'm proud that I stepped up and owned and took responsibility for that mistake. And that's all I can do. And so integrity means doing what you say you're gonna do long after the mood has left you. And I don't just want you to throw around, these cute little words like I'm integral, I'm responsible, I have discipline, I have honesty. Like, those aren't just cute words. Those are core values that require you to do the work to embody them. And that work is always going to be hard, because it's easy to bury things. It's easy to press the snooze button. It's easy to sleep in instead of go to the gym. It's easy to tell a little white lie. It's easier to do those things, but the easy path will always lead to the hard life. And the hard path is more likely to lead to the easy one.